compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, I call this meeting of the Manor Independent School District to order on
November the 18th at 5 p.m.
Let the record show that a quorum is present. This meeting has been duly called, and notices of this meeting have been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. The board will now adjourn to closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, 71129, 821, and 076.
at 5:01 p.m.
Thank you.
Oh, you got the pen.
That's what it is.
Agenda. Give me your agenda. I don't see it here. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your patience, and thank you to everyone for being here this evening. We will get started. The board will now return to open session at
6:21 PM.
and we will open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I will now take volunteers for the vision and mission statement for Manor ISD.
Manor ISD is the best district in Texas where we provide an equitable education for all their scholars and graduate them ready to become leaders in our community.
Thank you.
Go
ahead.
Okay.
Mr. Martinez, sorry.
Collectively, as a community, Manor ISD provides equitable resources, a safe learning environment, and high-quality educational services for all scholars to successfully achieve and reach their full potential.
Thank you so much. And we will now go through 6.1, November Staff of the Month. Ms. Gallega.
So trustees, President Celadon, trustees, Dr. Sermani, tonight I have the privilege of sharing a small showcase of the amazing staff members that Manor ISD has. These staff members have been nominated by their campus for going above and beyond for our scholars each and every day. Before we get started, for our staff members being recognized, when your name is called, please come forward, and you'll walk from left to right, shaking the hands of our trustees. Once everyone's on stage, we'll go ahead and take a group photo, and then you'll go ahead and grab your certificate and head out the door on the right for an individual photo. Now let's get started. First, we have from our Child Development Center, Alexia Cuno, who serves our infants. She supports them. From Blake Manor Elementary, Cecile Varela from kindergarten, and Jennifer Don, the campus registrar. From Bluebonnet Elementary librarian, Melanie Irv, and registrar, Alma Gonzalez. From Decker Elementary School, first grade teacher Natalia Garza, and parent liaison Palmira Mercado. From Lagos Elementary School, fifth grade science teacher Ambia Cray, and school counselor Janet Ward. From Oak Meadows Elementary School, pre-K 4 teacher Noemi Martinez, and registrar Ilham Cisneros. From Pioneer Crossing, second grade teacher Whitney Briscoe, and parent liaison Laura Adams.
Yes.
From Presidential Meadows, pre-K through fifth grade art teacher David Krudler, and paraprofessional Patricia Nunez. From Shadow Glen Elementary, first grade teacher Sarah Ferris, and cafeteria manager Daisy Salas. From Manor Rise Academy sixth grade social studies teacher Rachel Dykes and assistant principal Callista Janoski. From Decker Middle School, 6th through 8th grade CTE teacher Travis Ward and Officer Lorenzo Simpson. From Manor Middle School, 6th grade reading teacher Omar Gonzalez and Registrar Yelena Jaimes. From Manor New Tech Middle School, 6th grade math teacher Mary Calban and librarian Jessica Hahn. From Manor Early College High School, 9th through 12th grade English teacher Julie Sisbla and Cindy Ferraresi, librarian. From Manor Excel Academy, secondary SPED inclusion teacher Christina Caballero and registrar Pamela Stahlberger. From Manor High School, 9th through 12th grade physical education and basketball coach Christopher Edwards and cafeteria staff Maria Hernandez. From Manor New Tech High School, 9th through 12th grade social studies teacher Samantha Hem and safety officer MJ Jones. From Manor Senior High School, 11th through 12th grade LOTE teacher Jose Torres and bookkeeper Jennifer Jaimes. So we'll go ahead and get y'all for a group photo.
So what we'll do is we're gonna have like 2 rows. So starting from here to like here.
Yeah,
So we'll get people in the back.
even if you're a little bit taller. I know, that's the hard part.
Yeah. We might have to squeeze a little bit. Okay, so everyone from here, that way I can't see, and anyone from here that way, so we're gonna need some more people to make. Yeah, and y'all could scoot back a little too. Y'all could scoot back a little, like more towards the board. And then y'all 3, I can't see y'all, so I'm gonna need y'all to come from this end. There we go. And you can scoot in just a little bit. There we go. All right, nobody move. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
We now move to 7.1, public forum. Ms. Perez.
That's fine. Good evening, everybody. For each person present in the boardroom who wishes to address the board, you will have 3 minutes to speak. There are timers on each of the screens and one in front of you. Mrs. Cortez, will you please let them know when they have 1 minute remaining and again when their time is up? When necessary for effective meeting management or to accommodate large numbers of individuals wishing to address the board, the presiding officer may make adjustments to public comment procedures, including adjusting the time allotted to each speaker. Because of topic posting requirements of the Open Meetings Act, board members are not permitted to answer any questions posed to the board by the patron, and no action can be taken on any issue presented during this time. With this being a regular board meeting, you will be allowed to speak on any topic, whether it is on the agenda or not. If you wish to ask questions of the board, you may submit them in writing addressed to the superintendent's office, and the board may consider them at a subsequent meeting. If you are an employee or employee's representative, please be advised that the grievance policy deadlines are not waived. If you have documents to pass out to the board, please identify those documents. Finally, please be aware that rules of decorum will be enforced during the public comment period. Please refrain from making comments directed at specific individual employees, scholars, or board members by name to avoid any potential breach of confidentiality. If you have complaints regarding specific individuals, please provide those in writing addressed to the superintendent for his attention. Each participant is legally responsible for the content and consequences of his or her own statements. We do have 5 public forum signees, and the first one is Mr. Nick Ariano. Topic of discussion is transparency regarding safety and security of Manor ISD. When you're ready.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Sormani, School Board President, Ms. Celadon, and Board of Trustees. My name is Nick Ariano. I was born and raised in Manor. I graduated from Manor. I have family and friends, nieces and nephews involved in the district as staff and students. Tonight, I'm here to ask for transparency regarding the safety and security of MISD staff and students. On September 13th, a communication stated a toy was found on a student at Manor Early College. Were any safety protocols implemented to prevent weapons from being brought onto campus? To my knowledge, nothing was done. Weeks later, a district communication claimed that a weapon was discovered during an accident investigation. Yet, it's in writing from a school board member that, it's in writing from a school board member that says a shooting occurred. Why wasn't that information shared with the parents? Were any safety measures implemented at that point? Again, to my knowledge, nothing was done. Then, late October, a student tragically loses their life to a weapon brought onto the senior high campus. Could this tragedy been avoided if safety protocols had been enacted sooner? More than likely. As of November 6th, high school campuses have begun hand-wanding students and searching bags. My question is, have the staff conducting these searches been properly trained?
You have 1 minute left.
Do they know what to look for, ensure weapons are kept off campus? Transparency is the foundation of trust. And trust is the backbone of any strong school district. Being open about successes and challenges builds credibility and fosters collaboration with the community. Amen. When transparency is lacking, misconception arises, leading to false sense of security. I urge the school board and district leaders to commit to keeping our community informed and engaged. Together, we can face these challenges and ensure that safety of everyone of MISD is taken care of and is top priority. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, and I apologize in advance because I didn't get to find you, but Ms. Vanessa Ignacio. Topic of discussion is safety in Manor ISD schools.
Hi, good evening, board. I come to you guys today. I would like to read an email that I wrote to Dr. Suramani on October 31st. These topics to me are very critical that everyone in this room hears. I said, I've lived here in Manor for almost 10 years now, and I have 2 children that both attend MEC, freshman and senior. My daughter started in kindergarten, and my son started in 3rd grade. When we moved to Manor over the years, I heard the locals bash Manor ISD district, and I always wondered why, until the day I found out that Darren Loving died. I cannot even begin to describe how I feel, but I must find words to express my feelings. I would start with sadness, anger, fear, and disappointment. You, Dr. Soramani, and the board, and every administration person in this district has failed to keep the children of Manor ISD safe. The death of Darren Loving proves that. As a parent, I have lost all faith in the school and in the district. Your scholars have lost faith and trust in school districts officials a long time ago, to the point that they felt they had to record and take pictures of the incident and take it to social media so that the school wouldn't be able to cover this up like they have several other safety disturbances. I said, yes, you read this well, cover up, because over the past 2.5 months in this school year, there have already been 3 incidents that have placed my children's safety at risk. What incidents do you ask? Well, let's start off with that toy gun. Yep, y'all heard that earlier, a toy gun. That was no rumor, therefore. When half of your student body is sitting there and saying that a clip was found on a bus driver's seat, and the bus driver was the one who reported that is not no toy gun. That is not toy ammo. Nothing was done. Another thing, you guys sit here and say that, oh, this is a community that we have 0 tolerance for bullying, violence, and all of these things. That is not true. I experienced bullied myself with my son. He almost committed suicide because of your lack of support in bullying. I myself had to take it amongst my own hands to find people to support my son, to tell him that he was loved, that people cared about him, because your district failed to do that. You guys allowed my son to be bullied day in and day out until he almost wanted to kill himself. You guys lost a young girl in 2021 from bullying. So you guys cannot sit here and say that you guys have a 0 tolerance for it, because that is not true. And the death of Darren Loving has proven that to all of us. You guys are not equipped at all. You guys sit there and say that you guys have officers at every campus, and that is not true. MEC doesn't even have a campus officer, because you guys sit there and say that senior high school and MEC are one campus, and that is not true. My students go to MEC, not senior high school, and not
Thank you so much.
not Manor High School.
Thank you.
So y'all guys need to protect these kids in every school.
Thank you.
Next up is Ms. Denise Purnell, and the topic of discussion is school and education. Ready? It's not ready for you?
I know, girl.
Okay.
Good evening. Y'all all know me. I come at most of the board meetings and speak. Got a little emotional hearing that last person speak. But to bring that up, probably about 1.5 years ago, my husband is actually a staff member, and he saved 70 kids on a bus because somebody stood in the middle of the road, pointed a rifle at the school bus. And him being who he was, he got those kids out of there. Now, I thank y'all all for recognizing your teachers, but where was his award? Where was his gratitude? And now he's leaving the district. He's out of here. You have people that want to support y'all, but when we feel like nobody wants to hear what we have to say because y'all feel like y'all know best, how many of y'all actually go to these schools? Do I see y'all every day walking? I am that parent. I know a lot of information about Manor because I go to the schools and I ask questions and I see what's wrong. You need to start listening to your community, the ones that come and speak, because we have our babies in here. For me, I've taken 2 of my students out of Manor ISD. They are no longer here. After that death of that boy, Y'all are so reactive. Y'all get an A for being reactive. Where is the proactive? Y'all need to be proactive. The bathrooms, that wasn't something. Y'all know the bathrooms is where kids are targeted at. 2 years ago, my son was assaulted in the bathroom, got hit across the head with a trash can. You know what I did? I didn't wait on Manor. I pressed charges. I took it underneath my own hands. Now, when my babies go to school, that was one reason why I pulled them out. When they go to school, it's not like me dropping them off to school. I'm dropping them off at a prison house. So they go from my home to a prison because y'all failed to do what needed to be done.
1 minute.
SPED students, they need to have clear backpacks. They don't get regular backpacks. Y'all pick and choose who gets to do what, and it's not right. So my question is, y'all are elected to be on this board, but if I don't have the trust in y'all to do that, then all of you need to be removed. Y'all need to start listening and stop thinking that you know best, because apparently what y'all thought was right does not work for Manor. Do better, and y'all need to recognize all of your employees, especially transportation. Because if it wasn't for transportation, those kids wouldn't be in your schoolhouses every day. Amen. That's your first point of contact, and that's them drivers. They're the ones that say, good morning, have a good day. And when them babies get off that bus in the evening, have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Recognize all your staff, not just teachers. Thank you, and y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fourth up is Mr. Elmer Fisher, and topic of discussion is athletic director search and school safety. Yes, sir. You let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead. Board, thank you for the opportunity to speak. We're talking about transparency in and out all tonight. And if that's a common denominator across the board, that means that you all are not being transparent. We're asking about an AD search to where you guys are getting ready to make a decision tonight, and it has not been fully transparent. Now, you've probably given information saying that you've done this, you've done that, Dr. Somani, but you haven't been out in the community. You've sent surveys, but you haven't been out in the community to find out what we truly needed. So then, therefore, you all are getting ready to make a decision that's going to impact youth lives that doesn't matter to you once again. So then, therefore, I'm going to make a pivot to a child's life that was just lost. You know, when you hear things in the actual news that there were 2 officers and 1 security officer, that's a lie. There was only 1 officer there to cover 2 schools. So guess what? Stop covering up things. You have a dead body on you all. We don't need any more. We're not 2. You're right. So with the actual AD search, you had an actual search firm to do the search. So what you're telling us, Dr. Somani, is that your HR department is not capable of doing these type of searches.
I'm going to ask, hold on.
No,
I'm
you
going
don't
to
get to
ask for
speak.
you to please, yes, I do.
No, you don't. You're not supposed to speak.
To keep order.
Please
keep order.
record.
That's fine.
So then, therefore.
But to keep order, I do get to speak.
So then, therefore.
Chief Yarborough,
So then,
can you please
once
keep order?
again,
Thank you.
we'll pause my time. Pause my time.
We will. I
Reclaim my time.
I will adjust the time.
Reclaim my time.
I will adjust your time. Secretary, please adjust his time.
So
30
this is
seconds.
violation. I hope y'all
30
understand.
seconds. 30. No, it is not. No, it is not. It is. It is. He can finish talking. I will keep decorum in the room. We will
1 minute
keep
and 30.
decorum. Please, let's just keep decorum. That's all I ask. So that I can hear Mr. Fisher. I want to hear we are going to give him his time back. And maybe more. And maybe more. It's just screaming. I'm not going to be arguing.
I'm letting her get to those folks.
It won't let me.
I don't want no more than what
No,
I got.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you at 1:45.
Thank you.
All right. Guys, I don't want to remove anybody from the, but I will. All right.
Just,
The board will now take recess. The board will now take recess. We can take a recess, or we can get order.
let's just give him his time and let's continue. Monday. Well, she asked me last time.
I want to give him his time, but I also
She
need
asked
to
me
keep
last
the
time that I
quorum.
didn't interrupt, and she was a presiding officer. Okay, let's,
We just have to finish the meeting.
Dr. Sharmani.
I want us to speak. I want Mr. Fisher to speak. We're adjusting his time. I'm asking decorum in the meeting.
He's getting ready to speak, okay? Everybody be quiet, please, and let him have his time. Thank you.
Who said so?
Yeah, we do.
So when we talk about transparency, we're making a decision on an AD, and then we have other people to where I will post this information with your actual search firm that is on Thursday when you were interviewing that stated that the district is deciding on candidates to interview, and we are waiting to hear back from them on their decision. I will be in touch with you, as soon as I have news. So how is it that candidates are waiting for this information and you're interviewing, and now we have a decision that you're getting ready to make? So once again, we're just asking you to be transparent with the process. That's all. We just want what's best for our children. No ifs, no ands, no buts. No more, no less. I have 2 babies that graduated from here. I've sat in your seat. I've sat in those seats. So I understand exactly what's going on. Only thing we're saying is let's make sure that we get it right so we don't affect children's lives. What I do know is it's a different conversation when your kid doesn't come home to you. Amen. So Dr. Samani, let's make sure that all our kids come home to us. Let's make sure that we make the right decisions to make sure all our kids come home to us. Everybody on this board, make sure our kids come home to us. That's all we're asking. Make sure our kids come home to us.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
And the fifth speaker this evening is Ms. Pamela Wade. Topic of discussion is Texas Coalition for Change.
Can I slide this over just a little bit? Good evening. Again, I am Pam Wade, and I'm here representing the Texas Coalition for Change. We call this the machine because it's well-oiled, and we are ready to go. And I want all of you guys to know one thing: the voters have spoken. And when you look at your org chart, the citizens are on top. Then it's the school board, the superintendent, and everybody else. You guys are not listening to the citizens. You're not. You're working behind the scenes. You're making decisions that's not best for our children. And you're going to have to make some changes. I'm so glad that we got some new people in that really know about education so that they can hopefully put the school board and bring it where it needs to be. Now, we talked about collaboration. We talked about transparency. I didn't even know any of these people, and they've kind of really taken my speech for me, so I don't have a lot to say. But I do have a couple of things. You guys are supposed to be leaders. Leaders are supposed to listen. You're not listening. Leaders are supposed to look at what's best for the children with citizens and parents that are engaged and involved. And you're not doing that. You're working in a vacuum. You're working in a silo, and we don't like it. And you know, it was said
that we're voting Latinos for Latinos? What about the black children? What about the Asian children? What about all the other children that you represent? I got a problem with that. I have a problem with you not listening. I have a problem with me paying taxes. I'm a taxpayer. I own a home here in Manor. And you guys are doing what you want to do. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with it. I have a problem that you're not following the blueprint that you've written. I have a problem with you guys causing disrest and not peace in this community. We want peace and we want safety for our children, and it's not happening. And if you cannot do it, step down. And we will be calling for people's resignations when we come back if you can't get it straight. Because I do believe that you should be for all children all the time. And I brought just a couple of people with me tonight, but I'll be back with more and more and more. Because the voters have spoken and the community has said that we want change.
Time's up.
We're demanding it. And if you don't want to talk to us, you don't respond to
Thank you, Ms. Wade.
emails.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay,
Wade.
if you don't want to talk to us,
Thank you, Ms. Wade.
then leave out of Manor.
Thank you, Ms. Wade. All right.
And that concludes public forum for the night.
We'll now move on to 8.1, consideration action regarding proposed Chapter 21 teacher contract non-renewal. I will entertain a motion.
For 9.1?
8.1? I'm sorry, 9.1.
I'll take it. I move to propose the non-renewal.
8.1, it's 8.1.
It's 8.1?
It's, I think they messed up on the agenda.
8.1, I move to propose non-renewal of the employment contract of Ghislaine Narcisse and to authorize the superintendent to provide written notice of this action.
I have a motion by Ms. Cortez. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Martinez. All of those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. I'm not sure if it's 8.1 or 9 point. At 8.2, Educator Chapter 21 Contract Abandonment, Dr. Williams Hill. I will entertain a motion.
I move that the board make a finding that there is no good cause to support Franz Rodriguez Matos' resignation from her position at Manor ISD.
I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez Barnett. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Cortez. All of those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. I will now move on to 8.
6.
Sorry, 6-0. 6-0. We will now move on to 8.3. I will entertain a motion.
I move that the board,
Wait, Madam President,
I move that the Manor
I call for
ISD
the
Board of
floor.
Trustees
I call for
approve
the
the
floor.
recommendation
Wait.
of,
I call for the floor.
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
started
I'll-
first.
I move that we table this item before we vote on it.
I have a motion by Ms. Durden to table the item.
To table 8.3, hiring of the athletic director, to table it before we vote on it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All of those in favor? All of those opposed? Motion fails 4-2. Go ahead.
Now you can go.
Ms. Durden, Ms. Guerrero.
Madam President, I move that the Manor ISD Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of
Wait.
Lammy Williams for athletic director as presented in closed session.
I have a motion by Ms. Guerrero to approve the athletic director as presented in closed session.
I'm sorry, Madam.
Do I have a second? Second by, I'm going to finish this motion. I have a second by Mr. Martinez.
Discussion, you did not.
Okay, let's call for discussion.
Okay, Lon. So there's a first and a second, and then we have discussion.
We have a first and a second, and then we have a discussion. This motion failed.
It's funny how you can't even get this together. How you expect us to trust you with the safety of our children?
Today's a little different.
It ain't different, honey. It should be every day. Y'all do this every month. This ain't a new board meeting. It ain't the first day. I'm just saying.
Ask Chief Yardville. You're going to have to stop the outburst, or I'm going to have you removed.
You asked, yeah, you said something.
I'll propose to allow her to stay as long as she is going to stop interrupting the meeting.
I'm just pointing, I'm just pointing out something.
Ma'am, don't do this. It's not working. Please, just be quiet.
I'm answering his question.
Can we start discussion?
Amen.
Go ahead. You want to do it now?
You can do it now. There's a first and a second. You can do
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I should call a recess and we should go back.
Monique.
The board will take a recess.
Amen.
At 6:56.
Can we take, can we have a
We will
motion?
come back and address the motion.
Is that,
Can we, Robert?
is that the Robert order? But there's a first and a second. There's a first.
Is it 8.1? Oh.
I've been put out of better places.
Amen.
These people here. Evil, evil, evil.
So, do you want to finish that? Because that, I mean, the order is all wrong now anyway. You can finish the. So, the, I have. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
So my call for a discussion was meant to be after I made the motion to table it, because I did want to give some context. One, this is my last board meeting and two other trustees' last board meeting. The other three candidates will be sworn in tomorrow, and it's a huge undertaking coming up with a AD. Wanting to, have respect for the people that the AD is going to be serving under. Secondly, when we, like with all positions, it's not any different for the AD. We get the candidate the day of, and then we get information. If we still have some questions about what we have questions about, then instead of voting, we should get those answers and then vote. Like I said, the AD won't be serving under me, so I do want to give respect to the board members that they will be serving under to be able to make that decision.
And I would like to comment as well. Ms. Durden, you took some of my stuff, but I hear transparency. I hear we are hurting. We need trust. And the thing about this is we have to have respect for the outgoing board members and the incoming board members. You know, there's optics too, you know. And so tomorrow we get our new board members sworn in. So there's still some questions, but they're going to be serving under this high leader, you know, especially this high decision that we're making. And so that's my reasoning for tabling and that's all I have to say. So thank you.
I would like to say something as well. Yes, I did. I did. On August the 16th, the board members were given information regarding the process of getting to the point of hiring an athletic director. This is not something that has just come up tonight or yesterday or last week. I am going to support our administration in their recommendation according to the Lone Star governance model that this board is dedicated to serving under. I had multiple conversations with multiple people at TEA as well as our Lone Star governance coach, which Mr. Marlon Thomas, sitting back there, introduced us to back in 2016. And we are continuing to support our administration in their recommendation this evening. Now, is our new athletic director here this evening? Can somebody go get him, please?
I still have time left on my 2 minutes when you're done.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, she's.
I would assume he might be going.
So, when you're done, I would like the rest
Go
of my
ahead.
2 minutes.
Well,
Are you finished?
unless he comes in.
So I just want to give some clarity, because part of our job as the board is part of board governance. We're not part of we're a part of the process in the sense that we give a vision. The superintendent executes it. And when we put our hands up of who we vote for, we're not only voting for that process, we're voting that our vision was fulfilled. So it is not good, bad, Lone Star governance to say and hold a standard for the vision that you set. So if you're giving any implication by not voting that we're not supporting our administration, that is incorrect.
I agree.
The support is too, that if you put people in the seat, that you not only hold the vision, but if that vision is not brought to fruition, that you hold that standard. And that is good governance.
Is that him? Call him up.
Well, I'll say, no doubt there's a lot of passion in athletics in this district. There's no doubt there's a lot of passion in this room. I believe truly that we are hiring a candidate, whether you agree with the way I hired him. I'm not going to argue the point. I mean, you obviously have made it clear, and I hear that. But I do believe that we found a candidate that exemplifies one word that I have heard over and over again from the community and what they want from an athletic director, and came out in the survey results, which is the word integrity. We are hiring a man that's not only has he won at various levels at Brenham and in Leander, and is now overseeing a much larger district as an assistant director in Killeen ISD. We are hiring a person that every single reference I called said the same thing. You are hiring a man of integrity. So I am proud to introduce the athletic director of Manor ISD, and I hope you will give him an opportunity to meet you and greet you where you are and where you are at, whether it's Booster Club, community, sports teams, students, coaches, whoever you are. I believe we are hiring the right guy for the future, and that's Mr. Lammy Williams. If you could raise your hand and wave to us over there and stand up.
Come on up. Come on up, mister. Come on up. I hope that you stay with us, sir.
Thank you very much. I do want to say, and my name is Lanny Williams. I've been a head baseball coach for a long time, and been at very successful programs at Cedar Park and at Brenham. Coached some tremendous athletes. I've even coached against a lot of the programs here at Manor as well. And the one thing that I'll say to the community is first of all, I do feel that transparency is important. I will say that, and I'm not going to snuff out your passion for your kids, because I think that's what we need, is for people to really be passionate about their kids. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not going to shy away from that conversation. You know, my heart, I will say this, and I know that there was a comment made about the firm. I reached out for Manor. No one asked me about Manor. Someone told me about this job, and I'm like, look at this job, and all of my people that I'm around said, that is a great job. They have great kids. They have great facilities. I searched for Manor. Manor didn't look for me. And I'm here because I want to be here, because I want to make a difference in this community. I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes along the way, but I will tell you one thing. My heart will be in the right place. That you can hold me accountable to. And I'm, like I said, mistakes will be made on my end, but my heart would definitely be in the right place. And more important than anything, I'm here for the kids. Sometimes we as adults can complicate things, but I think the kids are most important. And I want coaches to be passionate about their kids, which I know they have here. I want integrity, our coaches to coach with integrity, which I'm sure a lot of them do. But I want your kids to be successful, and it's not necessarily about to get a professional contract or get the college scholarship, but we want people in the community, kids that are built up to where they can represent our communities well wherever they are. I know that some people here may not feel that I'm the right guy, but the only thing I ask you to do is give me a chance. Just like I sought after you, I'm just asking you for grace and just to give me a chance to do the best job I can for Manor ISD, because I am excited to be here and excited to be a part of this community. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And back here at the back, I'm sorry, my wife is here with me also.
Oh.
She works in the Georgetown Athletic Department, so Vicky's here as well with me.
Vicky.
So we've been doing this for a while, so happy that she's here with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We don't know you, and we're not saying anything about you.
We will now move on to,
So, Mr. Lammy, don't think that we're saying.
Is it
you
line
don't
41?
even have a person in mind. So I want to get that straight, and I want to.
We will now move on to 9.1, Superintendent's Update. Thank you so much.
It's about them.
Go ahead.
You're going to have to be my clicker. I know we can acknowledge something else. We did lose a student on my watch. There's no other way to say it. And that's a pain in the gut. It makes me sick to my stomach every time I say it, but it's something I have to lean into because I'm here. It happened. Even with that, you know, when you become a principal, I was a principal for 10 years, you have one thing, it's take care of your kids. And it didn't happen on that day. I'm not going to go into all that, but all I know is this. I feel that every single day, and I've got to lean into it, and all I can do is work to make things better. And that's exactly what I intend to do for as long as I'm allowed to be here and as long as I'm allowed to be here, whether that's 7, 8, 9, 10 years, or that's 1 year. That's one thing that I will do every single day, and my staff knows it because what was on our agenda every single day since. I absolutely will work in that regard. And tonight, all I want to do is bring up some of what we're doing, what we're thinking about for the future, and what we'll continue to talk about in the community meetings as we go forward. You can go forward one, Dr. Harvey. So right now, this is information that mostly we went over at the last community meeting. These are still in effect as of right now. We do have some hiccups, there's no doubt about it. This was something that we had to enact quickly. We had to ensure we had enhanced safety measures, and now we're refining those safety measures, and we're going to continue to do this for a very long time. Our first go at this, obviously it took us 2 hours to get the kids into Manor Senior High School. We're down to a lot less time than that, but it's not enough, not by a long shot. We've had discussions about what does searching look like, what needs to be confiscated and what doesn't need to be confiscated. We also have portable metal detectors we're looking at coming in order to help support the process. In long term, we're going to have to look at, I've got that in a later slide, but long term, we're going to have to look at other solutions that will work. We have a few other things up there. I also want to compliment, since November 1st, the amazing support of the community as well. We've had 75 volunteers that have applied to work in our schools since November 1st. I haven't forgotten you. It's just a question of how do we process and where can we best deploy you. But thank you out there for those persons who have volunteered and even applied for jobs to work within the district. You go forward. Just a note on law enforcement presence. There's been a lot of question about law enforcement. There's currently enough funds that's been allocated for 26 officers. There is a shortage of sworn peace officers all across the state of Texas, yet we continue to hire. We got another sworn officer coming in, and we have 6 cadets that will be working towards being full police officers over time. You go forward. One also thing that in the effort of transparency, I'm going to be the first one to tell you that I'm way too emotionally close to be able to objectively do any kind of review in the long term of what happened. We've contracted with O'Hanlon, Demeroth, and Castillo to do that independent review. It's going to be their job to make sure we ask the right questions, that we look at the right things, and if we haven't followed through on something, that we do follow through on those things. Then go forward. There is a lot more work to be done. We have a survey that's out there. We have some, last I checked, there were over 1,400 responses to that survey, and they're still coming in. We're using community meetings to get some other ideas, and some good ideas have been coming in. We have another one November 20th. You can see where it is, and we have another one December 4th in the Decker Middle School cafeteria. I've also got student meetings scheduled. Those started coming into my calendar. We're also looking at obviously we need some character education program for some of our kiddos. They need something on how to resolve their conflicts in a different way. And that's certainly something we're looking at. We have an outpouring of various community leaders that have reached out that want to be a part of this process. And I invite everybody, when we get to that point, yes, please come. Let's be a part of this process, because we need to bring our community together and push out to how do we support families who are in need of help in working with their children. And so that's something that's coming down in the future as well. Just a reminder, that school safety survey, if you haven't done it, it's open till November 22nd. That'll give me the Thanksgiving break to begin to disaggregate the data so that we can begin to bring forward recommendations to the school board in the future.
Dr. Somebody, I have a
Okay, you back up? Yes, ma'am.
I know that our team does a lot of training and things. One of the questions that I had was the investigating new school-based character education programs. Was that one of the things that the team had brought back? I know we were looking at the John Maxwell Leadership Program is part of that. That was something that we recently had learned about prior to the incident that happened on our campus. Is that one of the things, and would we also be looking at some of the funding? Would that be grant funding? Can you talk a little bit about the types of programs that we might be looking at for our kids?
There's a range of programs, everything from John Maxwell to AJ Craybill has one. I have a whole list of things that we're discussing. One that's promising, we used Life Anew at Manor High School 910 campus last year and into this summer, and that's reduced the number of referrals for fighting on that campus by 2/3. So that's obviously something we need to look at to decide what is the right fit for the senior high school. As far as funding is concerned, there are safety grant fundings that may cover those. We still have some of that money left, and so we'll probably be accessing that first.
Thank you for that update.
Go ahead. So for us, just K through 12, not just one campus. I won't be on the board, but if you could bring it back to the board members that are here, what social emotional learning curriculum is going to be? Is it already second step that's in place? What are they doing to monitor it on a consistent basis? So is there a certain amount per day? Because the reality is, by the time, not that we can't help students in high school, but you've fully developed who you are from a character standpoint in high school, and it can be altered and changed. But the best thing is to do is to start with all of our students to make sure that they have the proper skills to be able to resolve conflict.
Yes, ma'am, well put. Then I'll say one thing, and I say it over and over again, and I hope the news films this one. Nothing should overshadow the great work that our children are doing. Every day I walk on a campus and I talk to kids, and they are just amazing at the things they do. And so if you go forward, I always want to make sure we point out some of those amazing things that are happening with our students and with our staff. The Child Development Center got a 4-star rating from the licensing board. Yes, Ms. Senego's back there. That is not the norm. That is actually top-notch across the state. We continue to enroll more and more students. We have been over 10,000 students for a couple of weeks now, and they continue to enroll. That is a milestone for us. It's kind of, doesn't mean anything technically, but I think just being able to say we have 10,000 students in the district is a point of pride, I think, for everybody. Tonight, we will present the financial audit that is required by the education agency, and it will be a clean financial audit, meaning no problems, all good as it can get. I'm proud of that. And we have a picture in there just to show you the numbers of partners that we have coming out in support of your school district. That's the Manor Schoolhouse Foundation Partner Breakfast, and it's just a picture from the back where you can see all the different partners that are coming to donate and who really want to support and do well for the district. We also have some student celebrations as well. Love that Manor High School, after their senior send-off, won their last football game. They went out there and they topped Cedar Ridge High School. The Manor New Tech High School volleyball team and football team both made the playoffs at the same time this year. And just recently, I want to put this out here, Manor High School's choir has 5 all-region choir qualifiers, so. And 2 of those students, I understand, are competing to be all-state choir, and so I hope that they make that, and we will bring them them in here if they make that. And I guess I like 10,000 students so much, I left it on there a second time. But I want to end by just saying, don't ever let anything overshadow the great things that our children are accomplishing in this district. They're amazing kids. They give me heart every time I talk with them.
Thank you so much. Yes, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sermani, for saying what we already all feel. And I just want to iterate that that's the only reason I'm on here, is to improve things for our kids. And if I was worried about anything else, that's the day that I will step down myself.
Oh, gosh. 9.3, HB3, CCMR Board Monitoring Report. Dr. Harvey.
Good evening, Board President and trustees and Dr. Samani. Thank you all for allowing me to come up and share kind of where we are. I guess about a year ago, we came in and you asked for us to kind of do some data digging and see where we were in our systems. And so we spent a good amount of time looking at our systems, looking at our data, and that's what I'm gonna kind of give you an update on where we're at, what we're looking at, and then talking about some of our successes and then the things we're going to be doing next to continue to build stronger systems for CCMR. Definitely want to thank, as we kind of review some of our goals, definitely want to thank the staff, Ms. Erica Hill, Ms. Nikita Butler, who work on our team, as well as the collaboration I've been able to have with Dr. Benz and Dr. Torres Lease in regards to our working together to do some fact finding from the history of kind of CCMR and our district and really diving into the data pieces. Erica Walker and Leilani Garcia have also been very instrumental in for us finding kind of where those pieces are at that you've asked for and then kind of working to put new systems in place. So this is our goal that we adopted last year and some of the data and goals in regards to how we're planning to move forward. As you remember, we talked about in order to get to that 90% by 2028, we chose to target 3 specific areas in our goals. However, we're looking at a lot more areas, but specifically increasing the amount of students that are passing through the TSI component, which is either the college prep math in English, the TSI test, the SAT or ACT. And then we were looking at increasing dual credit scores or passing rates, passing for those places, and then IBCs.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When are we starting to test our students for TSI? When are we starting that?
Historically, we've done some prep in 8th grade. And so,
Are we continuing to do that? Or because I remember a few years ago, they mentioned, they were trying to get our students, our scholars, starting to do the testing in like the middle schools. And I don't know, are we being consistent or what's our goal? Are we gonna try to do 6th, 7th, 8th, or just start with 8th? When did we start that? And what does that look like moving forward?
So great question. As we're looking at our data for our TSI scores and our SAT and our ACT scores, part of what we're trying to do is look and see where those deficiencies are at so we can actually pinpoint an appropriate grade level where those standards have been taught and then dive into that work. Our overall goal is to have a 6 through 12 CCMR pathway, and that's where systems we've been putting in place for that, and then we'll work back towards K through 12 for CCMR. And so that would include looking at TSI prep continuously in middle school, and then seeing if what resources are available for 7th and 6th grade.
Do you have the goals here, or can you just send it to us, like what the goals look like? Because I don't know if you answered the question, I missed it, but like the consistency and when have we started? When are we planning to look at starting at 6th grade? Because you just mentioned we do 8th grade.
Yes, ma'am. So historically, we've been doing 8th grade. And I think your question is, are we going to look to 6th and 7th grade? Right now, we have to do data disaggregation and the scores that we're receiving at between 8th grade and 12th grade. When we look at that and the standards, the TEKS, and do a crosswalk between the test blueprint and the standards and the TEKS, then we can work with our academic team so that we can actually push back and see where those pre-skills are at and front load from there. So a lot of the standard for the test blueprint is in 8th grade. And so if we're seeing that there's some specific standards or TEKS that are more complex, that are causing for students to be deficient in 8th grade or 9th, 10th, or 11th, when they take the TSI test, then we'll build back. And we're doing the same work for ACT and SAT.
So, since I've been bringing it up for years, I can give some clarity, at least what my question has been, at least for the last 3 years.
Okay.
So, the TSI process, we're usually having students either have failed it or part of it, or passed all of them by 9th grade.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the process now to being able to say, if you have not passed the TSI and you're in specialty programs, to move them into other programs? Because if you are, say for instance, in early college, and you're not successfully passing the math portion, you're not able to access those math courses on a ACC or any early college program because you have not made the requirement.
Absolutely.
At what point, because I don't want half-empty classrooms sitting there in early college because you're waiting for, or you have people, that's 6 people being taught a math class when they could be going to Manor Senior High because they don't have the capability of taking a college course haven't passed.
Yes,
Secondly, one of the issues is if they finally pass the TSI and then they take a college course, but they're not truly strong in the core curriculum, then you have them failing college courses, and then it really hurts them for moving on to a 4-year or even continuing in associate degree because now your college GPA is low. What is preventing them from accessing things that they're not ready for is the question.
Okay.
So those 2 questions. One, by 9th grade, if they have not passed the TSI in different parts of it, what is the pathway to get them into the appropriate class where they could be the most successful? And then 2, how are we making sure that we're preventing them from taking classes that they are not capable of passing on a college level?
Okay. So currently, you're asking what we're doing currently, correct?
Yes.
All right. So currently, when a student takes the test, they have up until 9th grade. They're taking it in the fall and the spring at early college, and they're enrolled in a class called College Transitions. That class is to support them with passing that math and that English. If they do not pass, then some of the students are actually staying in the program, and then they're enrolling in, I think, a course that's called PCC. And in that class, they're getting continuous support for TSI so they can pass. If they're not enrolled in the dual credit classes as of right now, then then most of those students are taking classes, the AP or back into senior high school. So this is the current practice that's in place.
So what I've asked for is when you do your day-to-day,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know how long is it correlated between when a student is continually trying to pass the TSI and not doing it, and when that student has a poor GPA when finishing their college dual credits.
Yes,
Because what I'm saying is if it takes you 2 years to get to the point where you can take this math class, more than likely you're not going to do well in the class, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So when is it a point where we don't give up on students, but we do match them to what they can do best?
Yes, ma'am. And part of what we're looking at right now is kind of what's in our policies and our handbooks and what the current practice is. And what's in our policy and our practices says about at 10th grade, a decision has to be made.
Okay.
So
10th grade.
that's what the process says right now. And so we haven't necessarily fully practiced that. So part of what we're working together to do is actually align our practices and our policy together.
Yeah, that was my curiosity, because I see
Yes,
some
ma'am.
11th graders, 12th graders still trying to, still not, in the specialized programs, but not getting the full, they're not getting the full access or opportunity because they don't have the skill set to do so yet.
Yes, ma'am. Did I get both of them?
You got both of them.
Okay. All right.
Okay, okay. Dr. Sarmani's going to follow up with mine. Okay.
Okay. All right, so, and then the last one was the IBCs. Those were kind of the areas that we started with, and we were going to do our data dig, we're going to evaluate our systems, and look at all what's happening across the campus, at all the different campuses, so that we could be able to come back and make some changes and recommendations. We also talk about the fact that the scores are a year behind, and so when we came in, we'll be looking at the class of 2022, 2023, and then we'll make projections for class of 2024 until that data comes in. Doing such, we're going to always have to be kind of projecting and looking down the line so we can make decisions to keep up with the changing of TA accountability.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you here when we had our 21st century back in the days?
21st Century Grant?
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't that support our students? Oh, that's right, because of our past board president behavior.
Okay.
We no
I'm
longer
out.
have it. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry. Move on.
Okay.
But I had a serious question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we start CCMR in sixth grade, one of the things that really have concerned us about when we started in eighth grade was there was like blue slips that went out and students were able to select.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been any stronger opportunity to have parents highly involved in? Because my eighth grader, while brilliant, might not choose to do a pathway that I would want my eighth grader to do.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're going to start in sixth grade, is there a drop down during registration? Is there something where parents can be aware of what CCMR opportunities their student has, and then the parents be able to weigh in? And while I'm not saying, don't go quote and say student opinions are not important. Parents do need to be able to.
Well,
Make that decision.
and what I think you're asking is, will parents be included in the process?
Yes,
And
how are
parents
they?
will absolutely be included in the process. That was, one of the big things that we noticed was during the master scheduling process that it was very student dependent.
Right.
And so, we have a very strong counseling team working, counseling director, Ms. Butler, and we're going to make sure that actually that piece is adjusted. So right now, we're doing master schedule training, and then we're also working on the procedures that are going to take place for this coming fall. And so that is going to include, there's going to be a parent component in that.
So as much as I love the human aspect of that,
Yes,
is there a digital prospect? Because every parent is going to have to register their kids, that at least that they have some exposure so that when they have that conversation with the counselor, they are able to be more informed when they're having it.
Digital and meaning.
Meaning, like, when I go to register my kids, it's a drop down to say, sixth grade certifications that are available to your kid is this. And then the parents at least are aware, and they can't say they didn't get it because it's part of everybody's process.
I have to look at, I know that's, we explored doing Skyward enrollment and
Yes,
choice selections
yes.
in the past. I haven't seen that forward facing because my oldest is graduated. But what I'll do is I'll get with the team and we'll look and see what that, what it looks forward facing for parents and see if it meets that qualification. We did talk about paper and digital rollout for choice selections so that we can make sure that one, parents are involved, two, that it's clear and it's in, two, in home language, and then that it meets those, it's not difficult to do.
Right.
Good. Okay. This slide just reminds us of those, the criteria for CCMR indicators, the test, the AP pieces, and does anyone have questions about that? We're good on these indicators? All right. So here are our numbers, and from 2019 forward, and you'll see the decline and then the increase and then the decline, and I'll speak to that, why we're seeing the decline projected for 2024. And I'll just say it's simply because for the IBCs, the state of Texas is changing what counts. And so we built a system for industry-based certificates that are, the TA no longer counts anymore. And so we now have to revisit our CTE programs and then to make an adjustment. Saying that, as we're building for the new CTE programs that are currently on the list, TA has announced that they're going to change the list again. And so that's going to be in, I think, 2 years. So the measurement of what counts is changing, and in less than 4 years, which means a cohort can come in, which is what we're experiencing. A cohort comes in, then what they count for accountability changes while they're under that program. Doesn't make sense, but does it make sense?
It does make sense, but
Okay.
the question is, did you want to have a question?
I just wanted to make one comment.
Mhm.
Go ahead, you go first.
Yeah, it does make sense, but I'm saying is if we have longevity in what our students are doing, so say they have a program that they start and they do that for level 1, level 2, level 3, will that close some of the gaps in the changing, or are you saying the programs itself doesn't count?
It depends on when the cohort comes in. I mean, our students will still get the certificate if we maintain the program, but in some cases, if they sunset the certificate when that student starts the program, then it counts for accountability purposes, not for the child's, well-being after graduation, but for accountability purposes, it works against us for points, and then it doesn't count for accountability. And so that's why we're trying to look at all of our measurement points and try to figure out which will be the best programs to implement now based off of that upcoming list in 2026, and also on the current accountability. So it's kind of a game where they're making some adjustments at the same time where they're asking us to implement adjustments, if that makes sense.
But you would agree there are some core programs that have been pretty consistent?
Yes, ma'am.
That we can channel our students
And that's
into
what we're
those
working on.
consistent ones?
Yes, ma'am, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're health sciences hasn't changed much,
Hasn't
and so,
changed,
but it's also our biggest enrolled program. So we usually get about, from a junior, senior count, about 200 and so kids that are interested in that program.
Yeah, the only thing that I was going to say is I've had a couple conversations with Dr. Sermani recently about CCMR, and one of the things we were talking about with the review of our tracks is that looking at Texas Workforce Commission, right? There's a lot of information that is already out there. We have the ability to look at our programs that we're offering, look at the job market, both regionally in addition to statewide, and seeing where we can put forward programs for our students that are going to be desperately needed, both regionally and statewide, that would really put them at an advantage, right, going out of Manor with those career readiness skills and job trait. So that update and being able to receive that information and see what that looks like as you guys go through that is going to be really helpful for our team.
Yes, and
So,
thank you. I'm
am
sorry.
I hearing you wrong? Because I think what Steph is saying is absolutely correct about having students that are ready for the future. But what
Yes.
you're talking about is from a state accountability prospect.
Yes, ma'am.
Since these programs that are future-facing tend to phase, depending on where we are in the state and who's running it, the core ones, we at least make sure that students have at least one of those?
Yes, ma'am.
And not that they can't do these,
Right.
but
Yeah.
at least one that they're going to have count.
Yes, ma'am, that's exactly what we're building right now. As you mentioned, one of the programs that are at for 9-10 and senior high, those academies, the health science, the manufacturing, and education are pathways that are, two of those are definitely supported by Workforce Solutions, which means not only do they have the labor data that supports those pathways and they're going to continue to move forward, but also those students will have access to training dollars after graduation should they choose to continue beyond Manor High School. So those programs are there. The programs that are offered at Manor New Tech and the P-Tech program also, those align to that. To those as well. So that's the revisiting that we're doing right now based off of the data and the change in the data that we're getting from Workforce Solutions. Those specific things are so that we can offer programs that we have data that says won't change over the next 7 to 10 plus years.
Okay, last thing, give the new board members what the barriers has been, because what has stopped us from doing this before of going into the cores if the cores haven't changed?
Good question. I would say the biggest thing has been, I think just you gave us good direction to data dive and to look into this. And I think we're doing that now. And so I think the barrier has been that we haven't done that in the past, that we haven't looked specifically at the data and then worked collaboratively to solve the problem and do that. And so now that this team that is here now, we're working collaboratively to look at the data, to work with principals, to work across academics to build a program that meets the goals, but also is sustainable. And so I would say that's probably what the barrier has been in the past. And so what we're doing now is identifying all of those, getting down to the root cause, identifying kind of the past remnants of those things and removing those so we can put in sound systems that will be sustainable for years to come so we don't have to worry about getting to this place again.
Thank you.
All right. So you have this data in your presentation, and it just shows kind of where we're at in 2020, from 2022 to 2023, going up and going down. Some of that's just about student count. Some of that might be about the number of students testing different. You can see the plus where we had in class of 2023 more students passing the SAT. Then you can see your downs and dual credit passing and the AP. And then you can see there was no change in the college prep course because in those previous classes, we did not have students. Students were taking it in the junior year versus senior year, and they weren't aligned in both math and the reading. And so it's taken some time to deal with the coding and to ensure that those things are aligned in our master schedule. And so this year, you'll see exactly what we need to see in that college prep line.
So before you move on.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all have done a good job of having prerequisite for AP classes, so
Yes,
kudos
ma'am.
on that. Have you considered having an exit test to say, in order for you to get into these AP courses, you need to have a level of proficiency that you're able to demonstrate? Because I don't want to know that you can't pass AP when you get in there. I mean, I can find that out.
I could probably speak a little bit to that. My understanding is historic practice. A lot of districts do one of two things. They either open it up to everybody and let anyone take the course, or they make it very narrow. And my understanding is what we have been doing in the past is being very, very open to letting anyone take the course. You know, I always feel like that you got to kind of strike a balance, and it's really about educating the kid and then also talking to the families about what is the route you want to take. Because what I mean by that is if you are ready for dual credit courses and you have a certain pathway in life, that's better than taking an AP course. And if you need to take an AP course because this is where you want to go, let's route you into the AP courses. So rather than just opening it up or narrowing it in, you're really trying to tailor people's pathways so that they are getting what they want after they graduate.
So I want a lot of things, right? But I have the capability of doing some things, right? So I'm saying opening it up to everybody. I'm not saying that you're excluding a child and saying that they can't do it. I'm saying you have access, but your gateway over this access is passing a test to demonstrate that you have the ability to do well.
Yeah. And no, I agree with you. And essentially you're trying to help educate, well, what does that mean if I take this course, but I don't pass the test? But what if I take the course and I do pass the test? Like what pathways does that give you post-secondary so people can make an informed choice? I think that's the same thing.
And I think kind of the part of our plan of what we're going to do in regards to increasing parent education around these areas will help in regards to making sure that parents understand, like, hey, if your child is taking this class, please make sure they take the test. Please make sure that they participate in the process because the data helps us to be more informed in how we can go back and make any adjustments academically from there. So if students take the class but don't take the test, we don't have that data. And so that's a lot of what we see is the participation level is not as high, which doesn't give us what we need to revamp the course as well as look at courses that are before that. So if I'm taking an AP class my junior, senior year, and I'm seeing if we are able to see if the data is showing us academic deficiencies, then we can maybe go back and address that in 9th and 10th grade. So there's a more holistic approach that we're going to have to now take with CCMR. Because it's not just about, the CCMR stuff. There's a big academic component to it. And so we have to get those data points so that we can go back and adjust academics.
And what I'm talking about is vertical alignment from K through 12.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm saying this, if you really plan on taking AP, trigonometry, whatever it is. And in order for you to do that, you need to have this pathway of math classes that you do well in. And this is gonna start in 7th grade. Parents need to know that before, hey, because as much as I wanna do trigonometry, if I don't have the skills, I don't have skills.
Yeah. And we definitely have talked about that. Like I said, Dr. Benson and I, we sat down and we were talking about building that scope and sequence back. And, we were talking about a 4-year blueprint. And then he was like, well, let's look at the 6-12 blueprint. And so, so exactly what we're doing. We're working our way so we can look at those measurements and then be able to communicate those blueprints to parents. So if they decide these are the things we want our child to do when they get to the high school, then they can know early on that this is the pathway you need to take for that, so that they can make those decisions now in elementary versus trying to make a lot of decisions in 8th grade blindly. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's our IBCs, and again, you can see in 2023 we had a good amount of certificates going in. Another area of focus is probably our own ramps as well. While we have 31 students that passed, we want to see that number go up in regards to participation and passing. 2024, you see the comparison between, this is our projection of last year's cohort. We have less students that took the SAT, and we have less students that met the passing score, and we had less students that took dual credit courses and less students that met the 9 credits or more or met the math or English course taking. We had an increase of students from the year before that were taking the college prep math and college prep English class. This year we should see an even more significant number in that area, which should boost all of our CCMR numbers pretty high. And so this is what I was telling you about in regards to the IBC certifications. The current list of certificates that we had already pre-scheduled students for in those programs. A lot of those certificates were sunset. And so even though the students received them, only 31 of the students' certificates count towards accountability purposes. Hence the reason why we have to look at what we're offering, the longitudinal planning, the facilities that we have, so that we can be able to offer those industry-based certificates and then see how it works with the master scheduling.
And is there a plan to put back in level 1 and level 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right, so here where we're at. You can see our goals. You can see this is our reporting of what kind of a summary of what I just showed you in the slides. We had a goal of 65%. We came in at 52%, and 35% at the GPM 3.1, 21% at GPM 3.2, and 10% at 3.3. Again, all of those areas were coming in and collecting data during a time period where the system was already built and designed. So part of what we're doing right now is we made changes last year for this year and still working to get ahead of that IBC change. We'll see a huge increase this year because of the college prep math and reading, which will boost our numbers back up for the overall CCMR indicators. Current progress, we're already at 24% for the class of 2025. We have 135 students that passed TSI math and reading, and we have 159 students that have met dual credit indicator already. And for class of 2026, which was one of the things you all asked us to do, is to be able to put systems in place so we can look down the line. And so I believe this is our first time being able to tell you where a cohort is this early in the year and where the juniors are right now. And so this information will be what we utilize to help with master scheduling and working with our principals and academic team so that we can target students now, give them opportunities so that by the time it's their senior year or the end of their senior year, we're not worried about the data. These things are taken care of. So we're already at 24% CCMR indicators for the class of 2026, with 24 students that have already passed math and reading, and 148 students that have met the dual credit indicator. So we're going back into the classes, looking at the content, core content, intervention classes for TSI, and making sure the students are enrolled in those classes and make sure they have what they need to boost up the TSI math and reading classes content. I think we talked about the challenges already, so I'm just putting those on the screen for you. Last year was doing the data dive. Talked about TEA moving the goalposts. 50% of our seniors at senior high school, and so when we talk about where we need to focus at for meeting those expectations, Manor Senior High School is a focal point for us, and so we are putting a lot of time and attention there, and then ensuring that we're not, historically we use CTE pathways as electives, and so that hurts with those counts, and so we're making sure that everyone understands these are pathways and not just drop in and out. Where TEA is evaluating now, they're looking at completers and certifications, so we can't have kids popping in and out of those classes. Not enough students taking the TSI test. I think this goes back to the question that you all asked. Even if it's made readily available, I think the biggest thing we need to focus on is parent education, so they can understand the positives of what can happen if your student takes these courses, not only the access to the dual credit classes, but more importantly, the cost savings from being an early college graduate or in the Manor High School or the New Tech High School, having access to those dual credit classes because it's available for all of our students. That cost saving. My oldest graduated from an early college, so I definitely know the savings that I didn't, the money that I got to keep in my pocket. So I think that education piece, as early as possible for parents to know that not only the early college, but Manor New Tech and Manor High School, the comprehensive program, both offer up to 42 hours of dual credit or an associate's degree at every one of our high school campuses. And so more communication in that area is going to be crucial for us so that parents know they can take advantage of that. We talked about the coding issues. That's what hurt us in the past. We did have seniors in the ELA class, but they didn't take the math. We had seniors in the math class that didn't take the ELA. Then we had some students that were in both in the past, but the codes weren't correct. And so we're spending a lot of time double checking and triple checking to make sure that someone doesn't move this or move that, or a schedule change, and we lose the coding that gets reported TA. So we're confused at the end about what happened when we know we lined it up at the beginning of the year. So we're spending a lot of time with our PEAMS team and our administrators and counseling on double checking those things. And then there was some situations where the certifications didn't count because we didn't have the certified personnel. And so I know Mrs. Hill's been working diligently to ensure that we have those pieces taken care of.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the TSA and SAT. I don't know if you answered it or not, but it should be really quick. So are the students taking like test preps for the SATs, TSIs, and all that?
We have test prep available. What we're looking to see is how it's been delivered. So we paid for a course through Edgenuity that they can take, and then I think there's some supplemental resources that different high schools have for available. And part of what we're doing right now is assessing how it's being taught. So it's one thing to have the resource and to get a resource to a student. The next thing is, okay, are we utilizing it and making sure that students are in it regularly and progressing through the course content?
So we don't know, right? Or
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Oh,
We know we have it, but we don't know how it's being used.
So I have two comments. One, I totally agree with Cortez about test prep, but the strongest test prep is to have a really strong K through 12 vertical alignment.
Yes, ma'am.
And close gaps immediately.
Yes.
Because trying to go back in 8th grade, 9th grade and close what you didn't learn since you've been in school is not the best method. So we were talking about who is the person that hunts down the things that happen after graduation. So military and the ones that we get credit for on the back end, and how are we doing with keeping up with that information?
That is our CCMR team, and campus team, and so we actually have a couple of campus staff and then our directors that work together to try to track that data down. And so we worked with, we sent in a request and that was approved with Human Capital to have a couple of staff members stay on longer at those campuses so that during the summer so that we could be able to track that data and make sure that it gets in. That I don't think that was there previously. And so this summer we will have those things on.
So we'll have a better idea who actually went into the military.
Yes, ma'am.
And, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Go on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Improvements made. So we talked about one of the biggest areas that we saw we need to focus on was the master scheduling from a space of thinking about the outcomes and then building a master schedule to reflect those things. So I'm proud to report that we have master schedule training for, I think, 45 staff members, secondary. That'll take place on the 4th and the 5th of December. It's 2-day training, power schools, and it's going to make sure that, one, everyone has a foundational education on how to do it, and two, it'll lead right into our master schedule planning process for next school year. So we're really excited about not only the training opportunity for our administrators and district leaders, but the fact that we're collaborating on this and we're going to lead into, this will be our first time leading to the year with training and specific focus on these areas. And so very excited about that. School Links is again working and doing well. We'll continue to fix the data in Skyward so it goes in there and gives us a better output on that. Now our counselors this year are implementing School Links, the student-facing portion this year on campuses. And so those of you that do have children in the school year, you'll start, if you haven't already, you'll start seeing your child or getting opportunities to participate or see what your child is doing in CCMR, I think 6th grade through 12th grade through School Links. And so that's definitely a positive. I want to definitely thank Ms. Erica Hill for making sure all of our campuses were getting on board and training on that, and then Ms. Butler for working through the counselors on that piece. Let's see, the TSI prep curriculum has been provided, and you can see the ones that are available for each campus. And so this is, again, an improvement that our directors put in place in response to some of the concerns that, or requests from students and parents over the past year. And so mastery prep curriculum is for those high schools, and then Shrimp is what MEX is using. ACT, SAT preparation curriculum has been provided. I think we actually have College Board for right now for the SAT prep portions. And then students correctly scheduled in the college prep math. So not only have our campuses double-checked, our directors have double-checked. I have got in Skyward myself. I know a little bit, and got in there and looked at the current course enrollments and pulled down the Excel sheets and looked student for student to ensure that we're aligned and good to go. And so we're going to continue to get down into that, disaggregate the data and get to that finite look to ensure that our data is going to be better for the upcoming years. Beable and Powerful, we're definitely implementing those at the elementary and the middle school, and that again gives more exploration to students and has some parent components as well for education. And that data is going to again help us when it gets down to course selection or pathway selection in 8th grade. Our hope is to have multiple years of utilization for that. And so this is taking a little bit longer than what we wanted to for onboarding, but we do have access and should start seeing some data that's going to be impactful for us in the springtime. And other than that, like I said, I'm making the updates for our IBC list for industry-based certificates, and intentionally recruiting certified personnel for our certificates. GP31, you can see those are the goals that we're doing right now, is to establish those prep and intervention classes. And so that means making sure that it's identified as the course, and then making sure that the scope and sequence in that class aligns. Increase TSI testing opportunities for students, and then establish direct-to-college partnerships. GPT 3.2, increasing dual credit offerings at Manor Senior High School and Manor High School, and I think we'll be able to accomplish a lot of this through our master scheduling efforts. Open up the dual credit to all TSI eligible students, which goes to making sure that we have more students testing, and then educating them so that they can be aware of the opportunity that's available to them. And then increase direct employment partnerships. Because of our relationship with Workforce Solutions, we are aware of a lot of industry partners that will take students that graduate at 18. So we're going to continue to work to increase those opportunities. And then last but not least, increase the number of articulated course offerings in our CTE space, as well as the dual credit opportunities in CTE, and increase those apprenticeships and workforce partnerships.
So the only thing I didn't see on here is in reading and math, aligning K through 12 with a vertical alignment. Because my thing is, like I said, the leaks gaps you have to close by the time you get to course selection in 8th grade, the more opportunities you have to be able to select more.
Yes, and you're right. I should have put that in there, because we're absolutely having that conversation in regards to the alignment between the test blueprint and math and reading. And we are looking at that and collecting the data so we can have a more intentional program for that. So I'll make sure it's in the next one.
That's it?
That's it for me.
Sorry, we jumped that question.
Yes.
No, hey, no. I'm glad. I enjoyed the questions.
Any more questions?
All right.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Harvey.
Yes, ma'am.
Did a great job.
I know.
All right, we'll move on to information items. 10.1, October 2024 Monthly Financial Report. Are there any questions? Are you going to present? Only if we have questions. Anyone? All right, we will now move on to 10.2, HPM update. Does anyone have any questions? All of this information is normally uploaded for the board to review prior to the board meetings. So sometimes we're not going to have questions.
And you have it on public.
Right, and also we have one-on-ones with Dr. Sermani, and he provides us with any answers to questions that we have prior to the meeting.
And you're going to have a huge dose of finance at the very, very end with the budget
Yes.
amendment. So we'll save all the numbers till then.
We are now at 11.1 to 11.9. I will entertain a motion to accept consent agenda items 11.1 to 11.9. I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez-Barnett.
Yeah, I move that the board approve consent items 11.1 through 11.9 as presented by administration.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Martinez. All of those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. We'll now move on to action items. 12.1, consideration and approval of the budget amendment. And this is the long one that we were talking about. He was talking about.
Good evening. I'll try to be brief on this budget amendment. The purpose of the budget amendment is to realign the revenues, operating revenues, to close to actuals, and also be able to reduce the budget or the operating budget to reduce it by any possible savings that we could have for the remainder of the year. The proposed revenues reflect an increase in the revenues by 2.6. The way this happens is you recalculate the tax revenues based on the most recent tax roll data. So based on the October tax roll data that we received from the appraisal district, there was a decrease in the property value by $475, mainly due to the increase in freeze adjustments and also tax exemptions that reduced the tax revenues, calculated tax revenues by $785. But then when tax revenues decrease, your state funding increases. So we adjusted the state aid based on also a higher ADA and also an increase in the per capita for the available school fund funding by 3.3 million. So the net increase to the revenues was a 2.6 million increase to the projected revenues from 98.9 million to 101.5. On the expenditure side, we worked along with all of the chiefs present here in finding ways where we could cut costs. We looked from the areas of contracted services, general supplies, travel, all of those items that we have currently not used or renewed for this current year. We looked at the net increase that we are seeing in the expenditure budget is a decrease from the 119.6 million to 117.5 million, a decrease of slightly over 2 million in the operating budget decrease. This includes an increase of 2.2 million in additional authorized salaries in the areas of special education, security, custodial. These are critical areas that we have still not hired, so we are putting about 2 million, not counting benefits in there. The budget reductions also include decreases in the areas of contracted services, general supplies, and travel, and a total cost of 5.7 million. So the net decrease in the expenditure budget is from 119.6 to 117.6 million, a decrease of 2 million. So the overall budget deficit has been reduced from 20.7 million to 16.1 million. So that's headed in the right direction. We still have quite a bit of work to do. We'll continue to find other ways to where we could cut costs for the remainder of the operating year.
I'd like to just point out and thank the community for the passage of the tax rate election, because this also accounts for the new salaries for our staff. You know, some 50% of tax rate elections failed all across the state of Texas, and so I'm proud our community supported our staff by providing that raise.
Yes.
Absolutely. All great things.
That's a budget amendment.
Okay.
Motion.
All right, I'll entertain are you making a motion, Ms. Cortez?
Yeah, I move that the board approves the FYI, the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget amendment as submitted.
I have a motion by Ms. Cortez. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Guerrero. All of those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. The audit, consideration and approval of the 2023-24 financial audit report for the year ending June 30th, 2024, and the single audit report for the year ending June 30th, 2024, and submit to the Texas Education Agency. Are there any questions for Mr. Moises? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so before I get into the actual report, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge all the staff that were involved within this audit, all of the financial business office staff that were directly and indirectly involved, and of course, everybody in the district that has contributed to the overall benefit of the financial statements. So, and also present is here Ms. Leanne Carindang, representing the auditing firm. So if y'all have any particular questions on the audit report, she's here too.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
A staff member that directly contributed to the audit is Ms. Karen Chapoton. She will be retiring in December. This is her 11th. Yes, she'll be retiring in December. I asked her to be present, but she had other things to attend. So, but this is her, I believe, her 11th or 10th or 11th year.
We'll be having a send-off, so I'll make sure everybody gets a
Make sure we're
notification
invited
of it.
too, the board members that will not hear anymore. I'd just like to say publicly that Karen has done an amazing job supporting the finance office for all of those years. She was one of my mentors when I first started working for the district back in 2012 or so. And she's done an amazing job.
Yes,
And
yes.
well, Manor ISD is going to miss her. She's done great.
And we all will.
Yes.
Even though I have only worked with her two months, but yeah.
She's a go-getter.
Yes, yes. Okay, so regarding the audit, the 23-24 financial audit, the district did receive an unqualified opinion. This is the highest rating that a district can receive. And it is considered, again, low risk for federal funding. There were no findings of material weaknesses and on any of the businesses' office processes or procedures. I believe the program that was audited for the single audit was the nutrition program. Is that correct? So the single audit is a requirement for any program that receives federal funding over $750,000. And so for this year, the nutrition program was audited and reflected no material weaknesses, and is considered once again for low risk for federal funding purposes. The district's net position increased by $3.2 million, which is good. A net position is basically the owner's equity in the private sector. So it's your assets minus your liabilities. So the net position for this year is $43.9 million, which is good, an increase of 3.2 over the previous year. The unassigned fund balance, which is what we all looked at to monitor ourselves, determine the financial strength of the district, decreased by $10.5 million over the previous year. So our unassigned general fund balance is $29.8, which represents about 27% of the operating budget, or 3.24 months of operating reserves. It's important that we understand that number, because what this number is telling us is that for the following year, you only have 3 months to operate, which is the reason why we had to come before you all and request for a loan, because that reserve was decreased, and we have to rebuild it. We have to rebuild it to a sustainable position where we are able to fund those months after the end of the fiscal year until our revenues begin to flow in late November, early December. So,
Mr. Santiago, just to clarify one point about that. It used to be years ago, if you've been in education a long time, the state used to provide the majority of funding for school districts. And so what would happen is in your beginning months of this fiscal year, the state would be sending you money. But what's happened, it's flipped. So now local taxpayers are now, through legislation, are now bearing the brunt of funding schools. And of course, for those of you who own property, you know when you pay your property taxes. That's January. So what's happening is districts all around the state don't get their revenue until December, January, which means we have long months where there is no revenue. And that's doubly so for districts that are considered property wealthy, which Manor ISD is by the state, where instead of they giving us any revenue, they just keep it because they say we have too much. And so that's the environment in which we're operating and reducing our deficit. It's confusing, I get it. It is the state finance system in which we exist.
yes. And so we are in a very good position because our enrollment and ADA have helped reduce that recapture payment. So the $10,000 that was announced earlier today, that is a plus for our school districts, as long as we maintain that attendance rate up there. Okay. Any questions on the audit report? That's a summary of the main highlights of the report.
I would just like to say thank you. I know you just got here not too long ago, and it seems like you've been here forever. Taking in all the major financial tasks that we've had and putting something in place where we're already seeing savings and putting a plan of action when hopefully we can get back to a normal cycle and not have to borrow money again. But I know we might have to look at that. So I really want to commend you and your whole team, and for also taking the time to really explain everything to all of us multiple times. So thank you so much.
That's our goal, and it's a collaborative effort. It takes everyone here to get us there. So Thank you all, and thanks to each single chief and everyone, staff member here present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the board approve the 2023-2024 financial audit report for the year ending June 30th, 2024, and the single audit report for the year ending June 30th, 2024, and submit to the Texas Education Agency.
I have a motion by Ms. Cortez. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Rodriguez Barnett. All of those in favor? Motion passes 6-0.
Oh, no, just said next board meeting. I'll be here, Bob.
Before we close this meeting, I would like to take a moment of silence for the student that was lost in our district. So if you would join me now to take a moment of silence, I would appreciate it. Father, we just come before you right now, and we ask that you wrap your arms around the Darren Loving's family, Father God, and we ask that you strengthen the district and the things that we need to do. And we just thank you for the opportunity that you have given us to serve. Thank you. I believe before we confirm the next board meeting, Laura has something for us.
So this is exciting and sad at the same time. This will be my third year, so you guys are my second graduating board members. And I look forward to the new ones coming in, but before the night ended, we wanted to tell you guys how much we appreciate every single one of you. I personally have seen the growth and the strides made in this board and this team of 8, and I'm so very thankful because I've grown with you guys. So even though you won't be on the dais anymore, I'm still a community member, as you guys, so we can be community members together. And so I just wanted to present you guys with a little token as you go. We will start with Tamika Durden. They all say the same thing. The only difference is you all gonna have my fingerprints now, but. So it all says making the difference, awarded to Tamika Durden for your loyal dedication and unwavering commitment. Thank you for your significant contributions toward our goals and your indispensable support of our mission. 6 years, Manor ISD Board of Trustee.
Oh, thank you. You want to say anything?
The final speech. Ask me a question, Tamika.
You know I got all the questions, so don't do that. I am just so thankful for all of you. Whether we leave from here on the dais, what we saw in the passion from our community is just that the love that we have for our kids, and that we all have an opportunity to join that love and passion together to do amazing things for the students of Manor ISD. I have had the distinct pleasure of serving you for 6 years. I have grown so much as a person. The original board members can tell you that I came to the first board meetings with spreadsheets and pie charts and all sorts of stuff. And they were like, girl, please, if you don't stop. But really just growing up as a person, and thank y'all for that. But also getting to see all of these wonderful students do some amazing things over the last 6 years. And just knowing that the best is yet to come. And seeing our staff be so resilient in some of the things that we have faced, because truly, we work as a board, but you are the people, the parents that deal with all of the things that happen every day. And you are making an amazing difference, and I encourage you to continue to do so. But as the new board comes in, I know Caitlin is here, I really encourage that we... Oops. Stacy! What's up? That there is really a new opportunity to join with the board and make good great. So I'm excited to see how that's going to look as y'all continue. I still live in Stonewater. I won't give y'all my address just in case you want to come see me for other reasons. But
We still have your number.
yes, you can have my number. Everybody has my number. But I'm proud of this community and its passion, and look forward to what we can do when we bring all that passion together to serve students.
Next on my list is our Vice President, Janie Guerrero. And hers says the same thing, but she has 8 years as a Manor ISD Board of Trustee.
Well, I also want to say a few words. As I conclude my tenure as a voting member of this board, I promised I wasn't going to cry. I want to express my sincere gratitude to the entire community for their support and trust over my past 8 years. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve our district. I want to extend my best wishes to the incoming board. This role is both challenging and rewarding. Remember, you are not alone. Lean on each other, the district staff, and the community for support. I would also like to thank my fellow board members, past and present. Working together, we have accomplished a great deal. We have faced challenges, celebrated success, and always strive to do what was best for our students. I want to acknowledge our superintendent, our district staff, our dedicated teachers, and all the support staff. Your hard work and commitment to our students are truly inspiring. While board meetings can sometimes feel like a small step in a larger journey, it is important to remember that consistent, focused effort can lead to significant change. Board longevity is crucial for maintaining momentum and ensuring long-term goals are achieved. To those who have supported our efforts and those who have challenged us, thank you. A strong community requires diverse perspectives, but it also needs to reflect this community. We live in a time where miscommunication can divide us. Now more than ever, we need to stand together and advocate for our students. Let's awaken the sleeping giant within our community. We have the power to make a difference. Lastly, let's continue to work together to create a better future for our students. Remember, every voice matters and every action counts. Thank you and best wishes for the future.
And last but not least, our president, Ms. Monique Celadon, for 8 years of our Manor ISD Board of Trustee.
night, everyone. No. I usually never write anything, and I wrote a Facebook post yesterday, and I just want to read it. But I first want to thank my fellow board members for the work that you have committed to do over the last 8 years. I've served as your board president for 4. And although people said that wasn't possible, we did it. We did it together. I want to thank Dr. Lloyd. I know she's watching on YouTube right now, for the support that you gave this board over the last several years. I'd like to thank TEA and our board monitor, Stan Osborne. He's on his way out as well. He told me this past Friday that TEA will be out of here by March, and I hope that he keeps his word, because we've done a lot of work to get to that point. Dr. Sermani, thank you for coming in and taking the reins of a district that was hurting, and we had some struggles, and you came in and you powered through those struggles. No matter what, you pushed through adversity. Tonight marks the end of an incredible chapter in my life, my last night as president of the school board and as board member for Manor ISD. When I first took this role, I made a promise to my team, my constituents, my family, my friends, and myself to finish strong and to remain present every step of the way until the very end. Tonight, I will take the dais for the last time. I will adjourn for the last time, but I will fulfill my duties as elected by my constituents. And as I have shown from day one, I voted on the last items this evening, and I will adjourn for the last time. Serving my community has been an honor and a privilege. When I was elected in 2016, I earned the highest votes ever in the history of Manor, and in 2020 was just shy of 12,000 votes. I beat that as well. I didn't only serve those constituents, but all of my constituents. I vowed to represent not only those that supported me, but all. Over these 8 years, 4 as your president, I've stayed true to that promise, and I am deeply grateful for the trust and support you've shown me along the way. As I reflect on my time in office, I am incredibly proud of the work we have accomplished together. Serving as part of a team of 8, we made decisions that strengthened our district and positively impacted students, teachers, and families. We faced challenges with gratitude. The collective effort, collaboration, and commitment of this board have been nothing short of inspiring. The work we did wasn't just about policies and programs. It was about making a difference in the lives of children, and I will always take great pride in the progress we achieved together. Now, as I step away, I am confident that the seat will be in good hands. Caitlin Laurie, who won my seat, is ready to serve with integrity and passion. I know she will continue the work of building a brighter future and bringing the people of Manor together. I chose not to run for re-election because it is my time for a new chapter, retirement. I look forward to settling in my beautiful new home in New Braunfels, Texas, traveling more, spending precious time with my partner, who is here tonight. Please stand up, Maria. My friends, Patricia, stand up. I love you. Manor ISD will always hold a special place in my heart, and I will forever cherish the relationships and memories I've made during this time. Thank you again for the opportunity to serve this incredible community. Together, we made a difference, and I will always be proud of the legacy that we have built together. Finally, thank you to my family for all of the support, for putting up with late meetings, all of the conferences, the trainings. Thank you to my 2 daughters and my 3 amazing sons and all of my grandchildren. And Laura, you have become like my family. Over the last several years, you and I have worked together I've known your children since they were just yay high. And I know the struggles that you have been through in your life, and yet you show up every day and you give it your all. And I wish you all the best in everything that you do. And you know that I will forever be a friend. Thank you to everyone here tonight. Yes.
I totally forgot to thank my husband, so before this go off air, I'm like, because she thanked all her people, and I was like, oh my God, I did not thank Antoine. Because I almost caused the whole, like when we were dating, our first meeting, we stayed until 1 o'clock in the morning, but I didn't think, like, when you're dating someone, you should probably call them and tell them that you're not out with somebody else at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was out with y'all. So thank you for bringing up spouses so that I could thank mine. Because when you serve anything, you serve with your family. Because the school board meetings are the same every month. It does not matter if it's your kid's birthday. It does not matter if your mama live in Dallas. The family serves with you. So thank you to my family as well. So thank you for bringing it up.
In absence of Dr. Thomas tonight, I'd like to thank her for joining in closed session this evening. She is an amazing woman, and we just love her being on the board, and we appreciate her very much. And I'm getting so many texts here from so many people.
I might take
right
a
now.
quick point of privilege. Tamika, Monique, Janie, I'm not going to make a speech because I left you all a personal note for you. It should be on your desk somewhere. But I just want to end with this. Thank you so much taking a brand-new superintendent under your wing and helping him along. And with that, I would like to invite everyone to give a standing ovation to our 3 trustees.
Aw, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting, and then if anyone wants to stay to say a few words to the trustees that are leaving, you're more than welcome. I will now, for the last time, confirmation of next regular board meeting on December 16th, 2024. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, my last motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ms. Jordan, second by Ms. Guerrero. All of those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Anything I need to sign before I go?